So I remember going to the very first presentation of the PlayStation 3 many years ago, and one of the games that they actually showed at that point in time was the very first Motorstorm, or what was just a CGI movie of the Motorstorm franchise. And since then it has been, what, 3 games in the Motorstorm franchise?
Something like that.
Being the third one?
Yeah, on the PlayStation 3.
Is there any reason for a third game? Because you have been playing Motorstorm Apocalypse, right?
Yes. And no, there's not. Or we always do that. I don't know how we always end up doing that. No, not really. I'm the guy who says that every time. Yeah. No, but it's an arcade racer, and as arcade racers grow, it's pretty bland. Yeah, it tries really hard not to be. You know, stuff blows up pretty much all the time, which is quite
always cool.
Yeah, yeah. And it's, as the name suggests, it's in this post-apocalyptic sort of setting with earthquakes and buildings crashing down and explosions and fire and ruins.
It is sort of the new gimmick for the newest game, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, stuff blows up mid-race.
Yep.
So the track can change. Earthquakes will move roads around, and buildings will collapse, and you race through burning skyscrapers and stuff like that.
But that sounds
so freaking cool. Yeah, it does. And you know, it was also really cool when Split Second did it last year. True. But you know, arcade racers stand and fall by the steering, by the car handling. And if the car handling isn't spot on, the game fails, basically. And the thing about Motorstorm Apocalypse is, you know, the steering.
Really?
Yeah.
That bad?
It's not. You know, it's not atrociously bad. It's just not good, and that's the problem. Most of the cars feel like the center of gravity is too high. They feel sort of floaty. When you bump on something, it swerves more than you'd expect it to. So when you're racing, the cars feel really light, and when you're cornering, they feel way too heavy. Yeah. Which is a sort of odd contradiction.
Yeah, I got to play it a couple of hours actually before doing this review, and I just remember, of course, in this sort of arcade racer game, everyone is really aggressive, and every time someone drove into me, I was just flying all over the screen.
Oh yes,
no matter
every time an opponent sort of hits your, rear, backside, side, whatever, you get into this little dance where he pushes you around and you can't get out of it no matter what you do. So you end up pointing the wrong way, and you see the rest of the field just race past you. And for me, an arcade racer arcade racing really needs going sideways through corners at top speed, and you can't really do that here. No, because whenever you get the butt swinging out of the car, it sort of slows down and grinds to a halt, and they're all really slow when it comes to accelerating and
lots and lots of frustration.
Yeah.
Also, you previously mentioned Split Second, and Split Second, to me at least, was one of the games that almost got everything right that is supposed to be in this sort of arcade racer game. Not the least the graphics. How are the graphics in this new Apocalypse game?
They're okay.
Okay.
They're not bad. They're not fantastic. It's not Crysis 2 or anything, but yeah, they do okay. They're agreeable.
So basically everything that is wrong with the game is the gameplay itself?
Yeah. And it's not just the steering. It's also, you feel like you're not really doing anything. Okay. There's this sort of campaign mode with the story attached that's told through mind-numbingly boring,
atrocious,
seriously, motion comics between each race.
Got a demonstration here, so let's wake up. You've got to know what you're racing on. Mash leads off the line, but he's gonna lose ground once he's on the gravel.
Skip now, skip. You end up skipping every single time because
they are just beyond belief.
But there's this campaign. There's 3 difficulty levels in it. You have to pass the first one to get to the second one, and the second one to get to the third one. That means the game starts out being really easy. Stays easy for a long time. And seriously, I got to halfway through the second, I can't remember the name, Pro or whatever, before not completing a race on the first go and passing on to the next one. And it's just that, you know, with games like Need for Speed, Hot Pursuit, you know, you're chasing unlocks and new cars and new races all the time. You don't really do that here because there's, you know, you win, you pass a race, and then you move on to the next one, and that's about it. There's these collectible cards in the game, in every race, but that's about it. There's very little replay value in it. So there's no real sense of accomplishment when you get to the next race, and then to the next race, and then to the next race.
Okay.
It's also down to the fact that you can't choose your own vehicles. And even though you can unlock cosmetic changes to the vehicles you race, you know, they're just cosmetic. So they don't really matter. And so it just feels, the thing that really bugs me about the game is that it feels sort of like it's made on a budget.
Yeah.
On a very strict budget. Like they didn't have the resources to do something really cool, so they tried to make do and made something that was really middle of the road.
Which again seems kind of weird
Because
this
Sony is sort of marketing this as a AAA mega title, exclusive, woo!
And it was one of the first key franchises for the PS3.
Yeah, and they made a big deal out of it at E3, and it just doesn't feel like a game that sort of deserves all that attention.
Okay. So is this bearable for any arcade racer fan? Is this a game that anyone should buy?
I think if you're an arcade racer fan, there are plenty better games out there. Hot Pursuit, Split Second. Not nailed, but but you know, get something else. I think. Unless you already played everything else, there's no real point in getting Motorstorm Apocalypse.